Okay, once again, good morning, boys. Today we are going to discuss the two most important laws. Those are Dalton's law of partial pressures and Graham's law of diffusion. These are very, very important towards your objective side. Okay, so we are taking one by one right now. So listen carefully. Dalton's law of partial pressures. What is this Dalton's law of partial pressures? Let us take a description. After that, I am going to give a statement to this. So see here, hydrogen gas is taken of 1 liter volume capacity, and another vessel, same 1 liter volume capacity, oxygen gas is taken, oxygen gas. Okay. Now, the pressure exerted by this hydrogen in this particular vessel, let it be P1. P1 is the pressure exerted by the hydrogen gas, and P2 be the pressure exerted by the oxygen gas. Pressure exerted by the oxygen gas. At constant temperature, let it be T. At constant temperature, T. For a given mass of gas, N. That means, so number of moles are same. Temperature is the same. Volume are also same. It is the pressure exerted by the first gas and it is the pressure exerted by the second gas. Now I am going to take these two gases at one place. So it is another vessel. No doubt same volume. This hydrogen gas and this oxygen gas are collectively taken in the same vessel. Same vessel. Okay. Now, how much is the pressure exerted by the gaseous mixture at same temperature and same number of moles? So can you mind it? Number of moles, it is number N1 and 2 something else at same temperature. At same temperature. So now, what is the pressure exerted by the third vessel? Third vessel at the same temperature. How is this much? So what is this P1? It is the pressure exerted by the hydrogen gas. Alone it is present. So separately it is present. It is called as pressure of hydrogen. It is the pressure of oxygen. Now these two are collected here. Mind it, very, very important. These two gases, this hydrogen and oxygen, non-reacting gases. These two gases are non-reacting, not react with each other at ordinary room temperature and pressure. That temperature is usually here. Okay, these are non-reacting gases. So taken at one place. So volume is same. Now the total pressure exerted by this gaseous mixture, that is the pressure of mixture, is equal to that individual pressures and sum of the partial pressures of the individual gases. So it is equal to total pressure P1 plus P2. That is, when a non-reacting gaseous mixture is taken, let P1 be the pressure of first gas and P2 the pressure of second gas. When they are taken alone in the same vessel, same volume vessel, now the total pressure exerted by the mixture of gases is the summation of their individual gases. Those gases are, these pressures are called as partial pressures. Partial pressure of first gas and partial pressure of second gas. Partial pressures of first gas and partial pressure of second gas. Now I am going to discuss. No, not same moles. That is just number. That is something gas is taken. Their pressure is P1. Something pressure gas is taken. Pressure is P2. The same amount is taken here. The same amount is taken here. Directly. Okay. So now what is P1 and P2? These are the partial pressures. So now I am going to discuss the statement here. What is the statement? At constant temperature, the total pressure of non-reacting gaseous mixture, the total pressure of non-reacting gaseous mixture is equal to summation of, that is the partial pressures of individual gases. Summation of partial pressures of individual gases. If third gas is there, plus P3, fourth gas is there, plus P4. That means all these are continuation processes. Meaning these two gases must be non-reacting gases. Not only two gases, there is how many gases, number of gases you are going to take, all those are non-reactive. If non-reacting gases are taken, automatically total pressure is equal to sum of the partial pressures of the individual gases. Now what is partial pressure, sir? Partial pressure is nothing but there is a pressure exerted by that particular gas. That is the pressure exerted by that particular gas. Okay? When it is alone taken in the same vessel, same volume vessel, that pressure is called as partial pressure of that particular gas. Partial pressure means that is the fraction of pressure exerted by that particular gas in the gaseous mixture. It is the fraction of pressure exerted by that particular gas in the entire gas mixture, which is called as partial pressure. Okay, so this is Dalton's law of partial pressures. Now we are going to discuss what are the formula particularly used here. That means, as per Dalton's law, pressure of the gaseous mixture is equal to sum of the partial pressures of the individual gases. Sum of the partial pressures of the individual gases. Here P1, P2, P3, etc. are partial pressures of component gases. Gases in mixture. Mixture of non-reacting gaseous mixture. Non-reacting mixture of gases. So partial pressure. What is partial pressure? That is the pressure exerted by the individual gas in the entire mixture along the total pressure. Okay. Now, how to calculate this partial pressure of the gas? Partial pressure of the gas, P is equal to, so mole fraction of that gas in the mixture into total pressure of the gases. Partial pressure of the gas is calculated by using the formula. It's a mole fraction. Here X is equal to mole fraction. Mole fraction. P is the partial pressure of gas end. Let it be P1 is the partial pressure of first gas. So X1 and total pressure. Now how to calculate partial pressure of second gas? That is H2 into P total. What is this P total? P total is the total pressure exerted by the mixture of gases. Total pressure exerted by the mixture of gases. So mine is X1, X2 are the mole fractions of the component gases. How to calculate this mole fraction? Mole fraction of the gases is nothing but it is the number of moles of that particular gas by total number of moles of all gases. Number of moles of that particular gas by total number of moles of all gases. That is called as mole fraction of the gases. So mole fraction is equal to number of moles by total number of moles. So that mole fraction is multiplied with partial pressure that gives, that is total pressure that gives partial pressure of that particular gas. So calculate all these partial pressures. Sum of all these partial pressures must be equal to mixture of gas mixture, pressure of total pressure of gaseous mixture. Total pressure of that gaseous mixture. Now for gases, so N is directly proportional to Vn. That is as per your Avogadro's law. Therefore, so instead of number of moles, here we are going to take volume and volume of first gas by volume of total volume of the mixture of gases. This is called as mole fraction. This is called as volume fraction. Volume fraction. That means for gases, mole fraction is equal to volume fraction. For gases, non-reacting gases in particular, no doubt here. So whenever mole fraction is used, that is automatically equal to volume fraction. Volume fraction is volume of the particular gas by the total volume of all gases. total volume, because number of moles directly proportional to volume. So automatically mole fraction is equal to volume fraction. Mind it, this law is applicable only for non-reacting gaseous mixture. If those gases are reacting with each other, for example, there is HCl gas and ammonia gas is taken in the vessel. Now this HCl and ammonia interact with each other, that gives NaH4Cl8. That means instead of HCl and NaH3, there exists NaH4Cl8. That means entirely compound is different, automatically pressure may also be different. That is why this concept is applicable only for non-reacting gaseous mixture. So identify those partial pressures. So partial pressure summation is equal as total pressure of the gaseous mixture. Okay, so mind it, it is applicable only for gaseous mixture, that is non-reacting gaseous mixture. For reacting gaseous mixture, it is not applicable. So it is a statement. Now, what is the importance of this Dalton's law partial pressure? What is the importance? Why this statement is taken here? So the importance of this, that is application. I think it is application. Application. It is nothing but concept of aqueous tension. Concept of aqueous tension. What is this aqueous tension? Aqueous tension is nothing but pressure of water vapor. Pressure of water vapor is commonly called as aqueous tension. So in clear, this aqueous tension is called as partial pressure of, that is the saturated vapor pressure of, in clear, saturated vapor pressure of water vapor. So saturated water vapor pressure of water vapor, that is gaseous water molecules, which is called as aqueous tension. So where, sir, why it is taken? So see here, this aqueous tension is applicable most of the cases. So generally preparation of gaseous conditions. So most of the gases are prepared in our factories, that is nothing but in our laboratory or factories, industrially. So those gases, the prepared gases, may be soluble in water or not soluble in water. Those gases which are not soluble in water, mind it, those gases which are not soluble in water are collected over water surface. Mind it, those gases which are not soluble in water are collected in water surface, above the water surface. Which are soluble in water are collected over mercury surface. Which are soluble in water, collected over mercury surface. Which are not soluble in water, collected over water surface. So why, sir, how is this? Let us take the diagrammatic arrangement. So see here. This is the gas tube where a gas, the prepared gas is coming through this tube. Mind it, it is industrial preparation. Very, very hot gas is coming from those instruments, that is particularly in factories. So that gas is passing through this tube. Now, so directly if this gas is filled in cylinders, for example, if cylinder is taken, that gas is collected in this cylinder. So very, very hot temperature, that means very, very high temperature is available in this cylinder. So because of that high temperature, the cylinder may go into blasting, may go through blasting. And that is to avoid the blasting condition, this is collected over water surface because that water absorbs some heat energy. It is a good heat absorber, water absorbs heat energy in it. That means automatically the temperature of the hot gas so decreases, which is collected in these cylinders, so above the liquid surface, in particular water surface. So see here. So this is the glass tube. This is the tube through which hot gas is coming out. Now this is the beaker, or this is the container having full of water. Having full of water. Now above the surface, take a cylinder which is empty in space, mind it. So this glass tube through this water. This is the casing. Now the water coming, that is the gas coming through this glass tube. So entered into the container through this water. That is the first touching water. After that, moving towards this water. Here, what are available? That is, no doubt that gas is available. Mind it, this gas passing through the water, that's why this gas is called as wet gas, because that is a gas mixture. Not only single hot gas, or not only gas is there, that gas is collected with water vapor, because this water absorbs heat energy. Because of that heat energy, the water is going to vaporize. That means it contains gas with water vapor. Gas with water vapor. The entire gas with water vapor is called as wet gas. That is called as wet gas. So that means it is not only a single gas, it is a combination of both gas and water vapor. Now I want to find out how much is the pressure of that gas mixture inside the cylinder. That means now I want to find out pressure of wet gas. Pressure of wet gas. Pressure of wet gas. Wet gas is nothing but dry gas plus water vapor. Dry gas plus water vapor. Now pressure of wet gas is equal to pressure of dry gas plus pressure of water vapor. Pressure of water. The pressure of water vapor is commonly called as aqueous tension. Pressure of water vapor is commonly taken as aqueous tension. Therefore, pressure of wet gas is equal to pressure of dry gas plus aqueous tension. What is aqueous tension? It is the pressure exerted by the water vapor at a particular temperature. It is a saturated water vapor pressure. Saturated water vapor pressure. So LPG gas collected like this, maybe because it is not soluble in water. Okay. So pressure of wet gas is equal to pressure of dry gas plus aqueous tension. It is very, very important. Mind it. So it is nothing but total pressure. It is the partial pressure summation. Let it be first gas. It should be the second gas. So P is equal to P1 plus P2. So it is the application of Dardan's law of partial pressure. It is the application of Dardan's law of partial pressure. So here the term aqueous tension is taken. So mind it, if you want to calculate dry gas pressure, so that implies pressure of dry gas is equal to pressure of wet gas minus aqueous tension. Minus aqueous tension. This is the formula used to calculate pressure of dry gas. Now we are going to calculate some problems based on this concept. What is this aqueous tension? It is the pressure exerted by the water vapor. So water vapor pressure is commonly taken as the technical word aqueous tension. As temperature increases, water evaporation also increases. As water evaporation increases, number of gaseous molecules increases. As molecules increases, gaseous molecules, that is water vapor molecules, automatically its pressure also increases. That means vapor pressure, that is aqueous tension, that is the pressure exerted by the water vapor, is directly proportional to temperature. Mind it, aqueous tension is directly proportional to temperature. As temperature, that means it depends on temperature. As temperature increases, aqueous tension of the water also increases. Aqueous tension is nothing but partial pressure of the gas. Aqueous tension is nothing but partial pressure of the gas. Now we are going to calculate some problems based on this concept. So see here. first and simplest problem. So there is Dalton's law. Problems. Dalton's law problems. So see here. Now I am going to note one problem, simplest one. At constant temperature, a 2-liter vessel contains 2 moles hydrogen, 3 moles oxygen, and 5 moles helium gases. 5 moles helium gases. Next, the total pressure exerted by this gaseous mixture is 10 atmospheres. Calculate the partial pressures of individual gases. Calculate the partial pressures of individual gases. It is easiest one, simplest one. So partial pressures of individual gases. So no doubt we know the formula. Partial pressure of the gas P1 is equal to mole fraction of the gas into total pressure. It is a straightforward formula. Partial pressure of the gas is equal to its mole fraction into total pressure. Now, mole fraction of that gas is equal to number of moles of that gas by total number of moles. Here 3 gases are taken in. Total number of moles. So here, a 2-liter vessel contains 2 moles hydrogen, 3 moles oxygen, 5 moles helium. Minus hydrogen, oxygen, helium. These 3 gases are non-reacting gases. These 3 gases are non-reacting gases. Okay. So now I am going to take, no doubt this concept is applicable. The Dalton's law concept is applicable here. First of all, calculate number of moles of hydrogen. Its number of moles by total number of moles, 2 plus 3 plus 5, that is 10. So it is 0.2 mole fraction. Similarly, mole fraction of oxygen, which is equal to 3 by 10 N, 0.3 N. Next, mole fraction of helium, which is equal to 5 by 10 N, which is equal to 0.5 N. These are the mole fractions. Now, the total pressure exerted by the mixture of gases is 10. That is given P total is equal to 10 atmospheres. P total is equal to 10 atmospheres. Now, so individual partial pressure of first one hydrogen is equal to mole fraction of hydrogen, that is 2 by 10 into 10, which is equal to 2 atmospheres. Next, partial pressure of second one oxygen is equal to 3 by 10 into 10 total pressure, that is equal to 3 atmospheres. Next, partial pressure of helium is equal to 5 by 10 into 10, which is equal to 5 atmospheres. So once again, 2 plus 3 plus 5 all together, which is equal to 10 atmospheres, and that must be equal to total pressure. Now we are corrected. So that means the sum of the partial pressures of the individual gases must be equal to total pressure. Must be equal to total pressure. It is the simplest formula. Next, instead of this number of moles directly giving to you, so something mass is given to you. Now another problem. See here. At this place, I am giving mass of those chemicals. That is 2 grams hydrogen, 16 grams oxygen, 4 grams helium are taken. 4 grams helium are taken. So if masses are given to you, convert those masses into moles as per your knowledge. That is, number of moles is equal to given mass by molecular mass. Therefore, first of all, calculate number of moles of H2. That is equal to weight by molecular weight of hydrogen is 200. That is equal to 1. Next, number of moles of oxygen. That is weight by molecular weight 32. It is 1 by 2. Next, number of moles of helium is equal to 4 by molecular mass. That is helium is 400, which is equal to 1. These are the number of moles directly. After that, so just like in previous case, calculate the entire problem. Okay. So this is the way to calculate partial pressure. Partial pressure is equal to its mole fraction into total pressure. It is the formula directly. Mole fraction is equal to number of moles of that gas by total number of moles of all gases. So if gases are taken, volume fraction may also be taken, V1 plus V2 plus V3. So anything is applicable. It is mole fraction, it is volume fraction. For gases, mole fraction is equal to volume fraction. It is general case. Next, one more case. Let us take a container. See here, clearly. A gas is filled here with pressure P1 and volume V1. Pressure P1 and volume V1. Next, which is connected to another vessel of pressure P2 and volume V2. Pressure P2 and volume V2. Now, which is connected with a glass tube, negligible volume with stopcock. With stopcock. Now, after valve is open, this is the valve. Now, P total is equal to how much? After valve is open, it is one of the cases of the Dalton's law partial pressure. So now P total is equal to how much? So see here. Before P1, V1 in this vessel, P2, V2 in this vessel. If valve is open, the entire volume is used because the gases are coming, entire mixture is taking place. Now the total volume is equal to V1 plus V2. Total volume is equal to V1 plus V2. At that pressure, how much is the pressure? For example, so see here, after valve is open, okay, so these are open, see here. Now, initial case, for here, P1, V1 and final case, we don't know the pressure, that is the P final, in this vessel, volume is V1 plus V2. Volume is V1 plus V2. Now I want to find out, now P final end, in this case, apply P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2 formula at constant temperature. Now P1 V1 is equal to P final into volume V1 plus V2. Now P final in this case is equal to P1 V1 by V1 plus V2. So it is all about this one. Next, for this case, apply once again same case. So here P final, let it be P1 dash, P1 dash, P1 dash. Now it is P2 V2 is equal to P2 dash into V1 plus V2. V1 plus V2. Now find out P2 dash. P2 dash is equal to P2 V2 by V1 plus V2. It is another one. This is the total pressure, partial pressure from this one. It is partial pressure this one. Now P total is equal to P1 dash plus P2 dash n. That is equal to P1 V1 by V1 plus V2 plus P2 V2 by V1 plus V2. Therefore, P1 V1 plus P2 V2 by V1 plus V2 is the total pressure. It is the most important formula. If two gases are connected with there is a negligible volume, a tube coated with valve. After valve is open, now total pressure is equal. After valve is open, the total pressure is equal to P1 V1 plus P2 V2 by V1 plus V2. It is most important problem and formula. Very important formula. So this is another case. The case in this Dalton's law partial pressures. Now I am going to take problems on this concept. See here. So problems on this Dalton's law partial pressures. Density of air at STP is 1.3 gram per liter. Find the fraction of total pressure exerted by oxygen. Exerted by oxygen. Consider air contains only nitrogen and oxygen. Consider air contains only nitrogen and oxygen. Now, fraction of total pressure is nothing but partial pressure. Fraction of total pressure is nothing but partial pressure. Yes, very easy. Solve it. Solve it. If it is very easy. Density of mixture is given to you. Density of air is nothing but density of nitrogen plus oxygen, which is equal to 1.3 gram per liter. 1.3 gram per liter. Okay. It is at STP. That means 1 liter weight is equal to 1.3 grams. 22.4 liters weight is equal to gram molecular weight of air. Therefore, molecular mass of air is equal to 1.3 into 22.4. 1.3 into 22.4. This is molecular mass of air. We know the mixture mass is equal to, that is percentage amount of basic problem, and that is M mixture is equal to, that is percentage weight into its molecular atomic mass plus percentage weight into its atomic mass by total percentage. Do you know the problem? So already I completed in stoichiometric extent. Next, that is equal to, now I am going to solve here. Mixture, which is equal to 1.3 into 22.4, which is equal to percentage weight means, let us take here first gas, molecular weight of, so what are those gases are taken? It is nitrogen, it is oxygen. Fraction means total is equal to 100. So binary, in percentages total is equal to 100. In fractions total is equal to 1. In fractions, total is equal to 1. In percentage, total is equal to 100. Here you want to calculate fraction. Fraction means total 180. So that is why it is 1 minus x. It is xn. So let fraction of oxygen is equal to x. So fraction of nitrogen is equal to 1 minus x. So into its molecular mass, that is equal to nitrogen is 28 plus x into oxygen is 32, and by total fraction is 1. And total fraction is 1. Or otherwise, if percentages are taken instead of this one, see here at the same page, 1.3 into 22.4 is equal to, instead of percentages are taken, 100 minus x is this much into 28 plus x into 32 by total 100. Whatever you want to take, that gives fraction value. That gives fraction value. So finally, that x is equal to whatever it is taken. Therefore, x is equal to, after final calculation, which is equal to 0.28. X is equal to 0.28. What is that x? That is fraction of oxygen. That is the mole fraction of oxygen. Mole fraction of oxygen. Now, mole fraction of oxygen. Now, I am going to calculate that x is equal to partial pressure of O2 into by P total end. Partial pressure of O2 by P total end. Now, you want to calculate partial pressure of O2. Now, partial pressure of O2 is equal to mole fraction, that is 0.28 into total pressure. 8 total pressure is 1 atmosphere. Therefore, 0.28 atmospheres is the partial pressure of O2. 0.28 atmospheres is the partial pressure of O2. Mind it. So here I am going to calculate mole fractions, percentage mole fractions. So mole fraction is equal to this much. So mole fraction is equal to, that means partial pressure is equal to mole fraction into total pressure. So mole fraction is this much. That means finally 0.28 is the answer. So it is very, very important. Next. See this? What is the final pressure of O2? Second one. What is the final pressure of O2 in the following experiments? In the following experiments. A collapsed polythene bag of 30 liters capacity is partially blown up by the addition of 10 liters of N2 10 liters of N2 at 0.9 atmospheres and 25 degrees centigrade. And 25 degrees centigrade. Stop. After that, enough O2 is added to the bag at the same temperature. At the same temperature to its full capacity at the external pressure of 0.99 atmosphere. 0.99 atmosphere. So once read carefully. So I'm going to discuss, no doubt. So read carefully. A collapsed polythene bag of 30 liters capacity. So there is a polythene bag with 30 liters capacity. 30 liters capacity. Okay. Now, to this polythene bag, 10 liters of N2 is added. 10 liters of N2 is added. At partial pressure of N2 is given as 0.92 atmosphere cell. Along that, O2 also added. After that, O2 also added. Now, what do you want to ask? What is the final pressure of O2? So, what is the partial pressure of O2? Finally, so partial pressure of O2 is equal to how much? It is the question. Partial pressure of O2 is equal to how much? It is the question. See, how is this? So here, initial volume and initial pressure are taken. Initial volume, initial pressure. Their final volume is there. Final volume 30. Final pressure is calculated. That is P total. That is P. That is in that. How much is the pressure of that nitrogen? See here, the entire nitrogen is here. Here nitrogen 10 liters. Their pressure is 0.9. The same nitrogen is added here. Here volume is 30. How much is the nitrogen pressure here? Apply P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2 formula. P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2 formula. That is 0.9 into volume 10 is equal to their volume 30 and that is a P2 into 30 and that implies P2 is equal to how much? It is 0.3 N. P2 is equal. That means the same nitrogen here the pressure is partial pressure, that is 30. Now that means here this is partial pressure of nitrogen there. Here the total pressure is 0.99 atmosphere in 30 cases. Therefore, P total is equal to partial pressure of nitrogen plus partial pressure of oxygen because those two are filled here. So P total is given as 0.99. Here the partial pressure is 0.3. Now partial pressure of O2 is equal to how much? Therefore, partial pressure of O2 is equal to 0.99 minus 0.3. That is equal to 0.69 atmosphere. 0.69 atmosphere. Okay. So this is the way to calculate it. Problem is very lenient, but enough concept. A small concept. See here, first nitrogen is added. That is total volume. No doubt it is 100. That is 30 liters only. So this 30 liters is full capacity. The full capacity is maintained with both nitrogen and oxygen. Both are filled. So here nitrogen price is how much is the pressure here of that nitrogen? Find out the formula based on that one. Here, the total price is given as 0.9. The P total is equal to partial pressure of nitrogen plus partial pressure of oxygen. That is 0.69 atmosphere. Okay. Next, one more. Certain amount of N2 gas is taken in a closed container of 5 liters at 300 Kelvin. And it dimerizes as as 2NO2 gives N2O4. It is gas, it is also gas. N2O4. Full stop. After some time, 40% of N2 dimerizes NO2 dimerizes and at this time total pressure of the mixture of gases is found to be 2 atmospheres. Find the partial pressure of individual gases. Find the partial pressure of individual gases in the mixture. See here. So there is NO2 that is dimerized as N2O4. So 40% of the given NO2 is completely dimerized. 40% of NO2 is dimerized. Now, what is the partial pressure? First, before going to that, identify the number of moles. How many moles are there? Okay. So see here. 2 NO2 gives N2O4. And as per this equation, it is going to dimerize. At the beginning, so how many moles of this NO2 is taken? The amount of N2 gas, certain amount of N2 gas, we don't know the value. Certain amount, we don't know the exact mass of that NO2 gas. Let it be 2N, because it is 2, let it be 2N moles. 2N moles is taken, it is the initial case. At the initial case, only NO2 is there, there is no N2O4, it is 0. Because dimerization not takes place. Final case. Among the given taken, 40% is dimerized. 40%. That is 40% means 2N into 40 by 100. 2N into 40 by 100, that is nothing but 0.8N is dimerized. 0. That means here how much is the remaining? So actually 2N is taken, that 0.8 is dimerized, lost. So this is the final case. So if it is 2 moles, it is half mole is formed. So here 0.8N is involved in the reaction. Here 0.4N is the formed case. 0.4N is the formed case. So that means after final condition, these are the number of moles of NO2. This is the number of moles of N2O4. Find out the N2O4, that is the mole fraction of the N2O4. These are the number of moles. Now, total number of moles is equal to 0.4N plus 2N minus 0.8N. Total, that is equal to 2N minus 0.4N. It is total number of moles. Now find out mole fraction. That is, mole fraction of N2O4 is equal to number of moles of N2O4 by total number of moles. That is, number of moles of N2O4 is 0.4N. 0.4N by total number of moles 2N minus 0.4N. 2N minus 0.4N. So this is equal to 1 by 4. That is equal to 1 by 4. That is mole fraction of N2O4. Now calculate the partial pressure. That is, how is this? Mole fraction into total pressure. So total is taken as 2 atmosphere. Therefore, partial pressure of N2O4 is equal to mole fraction to total pressure, that is equal to 1 by 2. Mole fraction to 1 by 2. Now, partial pressure of that NO2 is equal to. So, total pressure is equal to 2. One of the partial pressures is 1 by 2, that is 2 minus 1 by 2, which is equal to 3 by 2. Which is equal to 3 by 2. 3 by 2 atmosphere. So it is also atmosphere. %40 of 2n. Yes, 40% of 2n is taken. So that is 148. 2n how much? 2n. That is 2n into 40 by 100. 40 by 100. That is 0.8 n. I am taking 2n in. Throw out. Okay. So first of all, find out the mole fraction. So mole fraction into total pressure is equal to partial pressure. So total pressure, one of the partial pressures I calculated. So total pressure minus this one of the partial pressure is equal to another partial pressure. Because P1 plus P2 is equal to P total. Already I calculated P1, we know the P total, P2 is equal to P100 is P total minus P1. So this is the problem for you. Right now, solve it. Yes, I will send. You don't worry. Right now, solve it. Please take your pen and paper. In a 7-liter vessel, vessel, 2 moles of N2, 5 moles of N, 5 moles of H2 are allowed to react at 7 atmospheres pressure. Are allowed at 7 pressure and at a temperature. Now, 50% of N2 is reacted and then 3.5 liters of water 3.5 liters of water is added to the container. Assume that ammonia completely dissolved in water. Ammonia completely dissolved in water. Find the partial pressures of N2 and H2. Find the partial pressures of N2 and H2 just after addition of water. Just after addition of water. Try it. Just after addition of water. So mind it, 2 moles nitrogen, 5 moles hydrogen are taken. So that means nitrogen reacts with hydrogen. That is as per balanced equation, N2 plus 3H2 gives 2NH3N. It is this is gas, this is gas, this is also gas. Initial case. Initially, how many? 2 moles of nitrogen, 5 moles of hydrogen. 0 is taken. Initially, no ammonia is found because only nitrogen, hydrogen are taken. Next, after certain time, that is the 50% of N2 is reacted. 50% of N2 is reacted. That means final case. Among these two moles, 50%, nothing but 1 mole is reacted. Now, how much is the remaining? So 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1, is the remaining N. If it is 1 mole, it is 3 moles reacted. If it is 1 mole, it is 3 moles. That means it is 5 minus 3 is available. Because 3 is reacted. Now, remaining is 2. Remaining is 2. If it is 1 mole, it is 3 moles, it is 2 moles. It is 1 mole, it is 2 moles, it is 2 moles is formed. 2 moles is formed. Okay. So this is the reaction takes place. This is the reaction takes place. At initial case, total number of moles is equal to 5 plus 2, 7 N. Next, after completion reaction, water is added in. The entire, this ammonia dissolved in that water, that means no ammonia is available. No ammonia is there. The formed entire ammonia, assume that ammonia completely dissolved in water. That means the formed ammonia completely. Now, N total, that is the final case learning. N total is equal to 1 plus 2 only, which is equal to 3N. Total number of moles. Okay. Now apply the case, initial case and final case. So for initial case, PV is equal to NRT, apply it. Consider these are that is ideal gases. So initial pressure, how much is the pressure is given to you? So initial pressure 7 atmosphere, 7 liters. 7 into 7 is equal to number of moles. How many number of moles initially taken? 7 N. This is initial number of moles. Initial 7 into RT. 7 RT. Next, final case. Final case. We don't know the pressure. That is the final total pressure I am going to calculate. Now the volume. Volume. How much is the volume? Volume. That is 3.5 liters. So that means among these 7 liters, 3.5 liters occupied by water. That means only remaining 3.5 is available for gaseous mixture. That is 7 minus 3.5 is equal to N number of moles. That is 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2, RTN. Take the initial and final ratio. So that means, so because that ratio is constant, gases, therefore 49 by P into 3.5 is equal to 7 by 3. 7 by 3. Finally, P is equal to 6 N. That is P total N. P is equal to 6. P is equal to 6. Now calculate partial pressure. Partial pressure of, therefore, here I am going to calculate partial pressure of N2 is equal to final case. That is 1 mole is there among total 3 moles. 1 by 3 into total pressure is 6 N, which is equal to 2 atmospheres. Therefore, partial pressure of H2 is equal to. So 2 moles is there among 6 moles, that is among 3 moles, 2 by 3 into 6 N, which is equal to 4 atmospheres. It is 2 atmospheres, that is 4 atmospheres. First of all, I am going to calculate total pressure because total pressure is not given to you. Mind it, in this case, 7 minus 3.5 volume is taken. Why it is 7 minus 3.5? Because 3.5 liters water is added. 3.5 liters water is, that means half of the volume is occupied. The remaining gas is only at half of the volume. And that is why volume of the gas is equal to 7 minus 3.5. So that is why here the final volume is used Final pressure is total pressure. So P total is calculated. Pi is the total pressure and number of moles here there is calculation. It is about your there is partial pressure cases. Next and last for this case. Last problem on this concept, that is to an evacuated vessel, 2 grams of X is added. 2 grams of X is added, and the pressure is 1 atmosphere. And the pressure is 1 atmosphere. To this vessel, 3 grams of Y is further added. Three grams of Y is further added at the same temperature. At the same temperature. And pressure is 1.5 atmosphere. Find the molar masses ratio of, molar masses ratio of X and Y. Find the molar masses ratio of X and Y. Just like the previous case, any initial, final case. Initial PV is equal to nRT, PV is equal to nRT. Initial case, final case. At the beginning, only X is taken. There the pressure is 1 atmosphere. Now apply the formula PV is equal to nRT. Pressure is 1 atmosphere. Volume, let it be V. Number of moles, weight by molecular mass. Weight is equal to 2 grams. We don't know the molecular mass. That's why let it be molecular mass of X is mx into RTN. Next, final case. To this 3 moles of 3 grams of Y is also added, additional one. There the pressure is 1.5 atmosphere. Now 1.5 into volume is not changed, is equal to, that is, so how many moles? That is 2 by mx plus, that is first X. Nitrogen, that is Y is how much? 3 by molecular mass of Y. So these are the total number of moles, RTN. RT. So once again take the ratio, that is, so that is, let it be 2, it is 1, now 2 by 1 is equal to 1.5 is equal to 2 by mx plus 3 by my by 2 by mx. 2 by mx. That is why finally we will get mx by my is equal to 1 by 3. mx by my is equal to 1 by 3. Molar masses ratio of X and Y. It is the molar mass of X, it is the molar mass of Y. That is the ratio is 1 by 3. Ratio is 1 by 3. Just a simple formula. This is based on PV is equal to nRT case. PV is equal to nRT case. So it is all about your PV is equal to nRT and P1, that is P total is equal to P1 plus P2 something else. These are the cases. Next, some applications towards this. Paul's law of partial pressure. In this case, the term frequently used one is so in applications, Already I told that first one is pressure of wet gas. Already I completed this one. Pressure of wet gas is equal to pressure of dry gas plus aqueous tension, or pressure of dry gas plus pressure of water vapor. Pressure of water vapor. It is the first case. Second application, that is vapor pressure concept. So what is that vapor pressure? That is vapor pressure of water, and I am going to calculate. Here, let a liquid is taken, which is evaporized, that is in equilibrium, into a gas. It is the liquid vaporized cases. Liquid changes to water. Just like, let it be A is water and water liquid and water vapor. That is the best example. It is a physical equilibrium. These two are equilibrium. That liquid and gas are in equilibrium. Wherever equilibrium is there should be equilibrium constant K. So, equilibrium constant. So, equilibrium constant K is equal to gaseous products by gaseous reactants. Moles. That is equal to K is equal to gaseous products. That is nothing but. So, that is because it is gas, partial pressure of product by partial pressure of reactant only for gases. So it is the gas, that's why it is the partial pressure of A by, it is liquid, not taken, partial pressure of S, liquid or solid is equal to 1. Therefore, equilibrium pressure for constant K is equal to partial pressure of A. Equilibrium constant A is equal to partial pressure of A. Mind it, equilibrium constant, it depends only on temperature. Even though you change the concentration pressure, something else, whatever you want to change, that equilibrium constant not change. If equilibrium constant not change, that partial pressure is not changed. That means if A is equal to water, the partial pressure of water, that means partial pressure of water is only depending on temperature. That is why aqueous tension, partial pressure of water is nothing but aqueous tension. Aqueous tension is taken as if the aqueous tension is only depending on temperature, that aqueous tension is directly proportional to temperature. That is, partial pressure of A is directly proportional to temperature. Partial pressure of is nothing but vapor pressure of water. And I am going to take this vapor pressure of water at equilibrium case is called as saturated vapor pressure. And this saturated vapor pressure is called as aqueous tension. The saturated water vapor is also called as aqueous tension. That means aqueous tension depends only on temperature. Aqueous tension depends only on temperature. As temperature increases, aqueous water also increases. Aqueous tension is nothing but pressure of saturated water vapor. Pressure of saturated water vapor. Okay. So if it is water, that is aqueous tension. If it is any solvent, that is called as saturated vapor. If water is there, that water is called as aqueous tension. Any other solvent is there, that is called as saturated water vapor. Saturated water vapor. Okay. So this is vapor pressure and aqueous tension consistent. Next, third one, that is relative humidity, and it is very, very important. Simply called as RHN, relative humidity. What is relative humidity? It is the vapor pressure ratio, and that's just the vapor pressure ratio. That is, relative humidity is equal to partial pressure of water vapor by saturated vapor pressure into 100. It is very, very important. Please be mind. Relative humidity is equal to the ratio of vapor pressure. So, vapor pressure at that particular temperature, vapor pressure of water at that particular temperature by saturated water vapor. Saturated vapor, that is when it is in equilibrium into 100. So, into 100. This is the formula problem. So by using this relative humidity problem, they take a problem here. So problem on this concept, the relative humidity. Relative humidity and also aqueous tension, dry gas, wet gas conditions. So here is the problem here. That is in 1 liter, 1 liter container, N2 gas is saturated with N2 gas is saturated with water vapor at 25 degrees centigrade. At 25 degrees centigrade. And 100 mm of Hg. Aqueous tension is equal to 24 mm of Hg at the same temperature. If the gaseous mixture is completely transferred to half-liter container, find the final pressure of the mixture. Find the final pressure of the mixture. Now, 1 liter container nitrogen gas, 100 mm Hg. It is saturated with water vapor. That means this 100 mm Hg is equal to pressure of dry gas plus aqueous tension. Because saturated with means it is pressure of wet gas. Saturated means. But we are in calculation, we are only using dry gas end. Already aqueous tension is given as 24. Aqueous tension is given as 24. Therefore, pressure of N2 gas is equal to 100 minus 24, which is equal to 76 mm of Hg. So mind it, not 100 directly used. Here, pressure of dry gas is going to use. There is only 76 mm of Hg. Next, apply condition. Initial and final volume will change. That is, P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. So at the starting condition, it is 76. Volume is 1 liter. So now final pressure P2 half liter. Therefore, P2 is equal to 76 into 2, which is 12, 14, 15, 152 and 152 mm of Hg. But it is only dry gas pressure. Now final pressure mixture end. That means there should be water vapor also. That means once again aqueous tension. Therefore, pressure of mixture is equal to pressure of dry gas plus aqueous tension. Pressure of dry gas is 152. Aqueous tension at the temperature is 24. 24, which is equal to 176 mm of Hg. 176 mm of Hg. Mind it. So before calculation, subtract that aqueous tension. After calculation, add that aqueous tension. Because so water vapor remains the same. Because temperature is not changed. Because aqueous tension depends only on temperature. Aqueous tension depends only on temperature. Next one. So next, this is different problems. So relative humidity is something else I will send to you. if you anyone any doubt, ask tomorrow. So now I'm going to take next concept because time is not sufficient for us. So now I'm going to complete this second law also, that is Graham's law of diffusion. Graham's law of diffusion. If time is there, I'm going to complete once again. Then relative humidity problem also. At last. It is the concept that is Graham's law of diffusion. Graham's law of diffusion. Before going to take this concept, we must know about diffusion. We must know about diffusion. So first of all, what is diffusion? What is diffusion? Diffusion means it is a spontaneous intermixing of two or more gases, irrespective of their densities. The spontaneous intermixing of two or more gases, irrespective of their densities. That is complete mixture and it gives homogeneous mixture. Okay. So next, whenever gases are mixed, automatically that should be homogeneous. In another way, how to express this diffusion? So diffusion is nothing but the spontaneous flow of gaseous molecules from, see here, higher density to lower density, or higher pressure to lower pressure, or higher concentration to lower concentration, whatever it may be. All these are considered as diffusion. That is a spontaneous migration, flow of molecules from high pressure region to low pressure region, higher density to lower density. Okay. So now, alage, or higher partial pressure to lower partial pressure. That term also used. Also, whatever it may be the case, which is called as diffusion. Nothing but intermixing of two or more gases with respect to density. Otherwise, this is the statement. So, what is diffusion? Spontaneous flow of gaseous molecules from high density to low density, higher pressure to low pressure, higher partial pressure to lower partial pressure, higher concentration to lower concentration, which is called as diffusion. We must know about this. Next, the same term, another word, the similar way, that is called as effusion. What is this effusion? So, if diffusion, mind it, diffusion through a small hole is called effusion. If there is diffusion with through a small hole, let us say it is a container, it is a gas is taken, a small hole is taken, that diffusion through that small hole is called as effusion. The diffusion through that small hole, because inside the vessel, high pressure is there. Outside the vessel, low pressure is there. High pressure to low pressure, the gas molecules are flowing. The flowing through small hole is called as effusion. Both diffusion and effusion are almost the same thing. So different terms are used here. Now, we are going to discuss the rate of diffusion. So rate of diffusion. What is this rate of diffusion? Because the statement is totally based on this rate of diffusion. What is this rate of diffusion? Rate means, for example, in our cricket, run rate, the term run rate is used. That is runs per over. There, overs is the basic unit. Here, time is the basic unit. Per unit time. Rate is nothing but per unit time. Change per unit time is called as rate. So now what is the change? That is rate, diffusion rate. That is, it can be expressed in different ways. That is, first one, number of moles. Number of moles of gas coming out from small hole per unit time. That is, it is in terms of number of moles. It is indicated with N by T. Rate of diffusion indicated with N by T. Next, volume of gas diffused per unit time is also called as rate of diffusion, volume of gas. Okay. Next, distance traveled by the gas. Because it is a moment, something distance is traveled. Distance traveled by the gas per unit time is also called as rate of diffusion. Distance traveled by the gas per unit time. Okay. Or the decrease in pressure per unit time is also called as rate of diffusion. So anything is used as rate of diffusion. That is change in number of moles per unit time. That is decrease in number of moles per unit time. That is volume, change in volume per unit time, distance traveled by the gas per unit time, a decrease in pressure per unit time, whatever it may be, it is rate of diffusion. So by using this rate of diffusion, we are going to discuss Graham's law of diffusion. Now, what is Graham's law of diffusion? Now, what is the statement for this one? See here, at constant temperature and pressure, at constant temperature and pressure, the rate of diffusion of gas, rate of diffusion, already I discussed it. The rate of diffusion of gas is inversely proportional to square root of its density. So as per experimental law and every gas law is through experiments. So the rate of diffusion of gas is inversely proportional to square root of its density. That means rate is inversely proportional to square root of its density. So rate, the term R is generally used. R is inversely proportional to square root of its density. But density is equal to, we know, Pm by RT. That means density is directly proportional to molecular mass. That is why rate is once again inversely proportional to square root of its molecular mass. Square root of its molecular mass. Now, molecular mass is equal to 2 into vapor density. That implies molecular mass directly proportional to vapor density. That is why here also 1 by square root of its vapor. These are other forms. 1 by square root of its vapor density. That is also considered. Okay. Next. So combined equation. So now I'm going to take, let us take rate R1 by R2. Rate is equal to volume by time end, or number of moles by time end, or distance traveled by the time end. Everything is used in your previous case. Therefore, R1 by R2 is equal to V1 by V2 into T by T1, which is equal to N1 by N2 into T2 by T1, which is equal to distance 1 by distance traveled by the gas second time into T2 by T1, which is equal to under root density and D2 by D1, which is equal to under root M2 by M1, which is equal to under root BD2 by BD1. This is the general formula used to calculate rate of diffusion, that is compared to rate of diffusion of different gases. Compared to rate of diffusion of different gases, it is rate of diffusion concept. So very Now, yes, it is internet problem. Will come. You don't worry. Is this clear? Net problem. I think it will be clear. Yes, okay. So mind it. So this is the general formula. Next, other formula, that is R1 by R2. Rate of diffusion of first gas by second gas is equal to P1 by P2 into under root M2 by M1. It is another most important problem, because rate of diffusion directly proportional to pressure and inversely proportional to molecular mass, square root of its molecular combined gas current, which is also equal to pressure is directly proportional number of moles N1 by N2 into under root M2 by M1. N1 by N2 into under root M2 by M1. It is another one. But N is the number of moles. N is nothing but number of moles. So number of moles is equal to weight by gram molecular weight. So apply weight W1 by M1 into M2 by W2 into under root M2 by M1. M2. So by that is simplification W1 by W2 M2 by M1 into root M2 by M1, that is equal to M2 by M1 into whole power 3 by 2. M2 by M1 whole power 3 by 2. So all these are rate of diffusion problems and formula. So very, very important. So rate of diffusion is a different concept. So finally, rate of diffusion at constant temperature is always directly inversely proportional to square root of its density. From that, the remaining 4 calculations are all completed. Okay. See one example here. Mind it, rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to molecular mass. The gas whose molecular mass is less has a greater weight. Among nitrogen and hydrogen, which one has greatest rate? So nitrogen molecular mass 28, hydrogen molecular mass 2. That means rate of diffusion of hydrogen greater than rate of diffusion of nitrogen. See here, I am going to conclude the concept here. Let us take a container. In this container, there is a balloon that is filled with hydrogen. The container filled with carbon dioxide. Let it be case 1. In case 2, it is the container, same volume, all are same. Inner one filled with CO2, outer one filled with hydrogen. In third case, it is the container, inner one filled with CO2, outer one with N2 bond. Okay. If a small hole is made on this inner balloon, a small hole is applied. If a small hole is applied, what will observe? That means the hydrogen is coming out from the balloon to CO2 or CO2 enter into the hydrogen. So which will happen? Whose rate is more? That will happen. That means here hydrogen molecular mass is 200. CO2 is 44. That means rate of diffusion of hydrogen is more. That means hydrogen gases comes out. Because of that, the size of this inner balloon decreases, shrinks. Therefore, here what we observe here, size of inner balloon shrinks. Size of inner balloon shrinks. Am I correct or not? See here, hydrogen, CO2. So that CO2 may enter into the balloon or hydrogen comes out from the balloon. The rate of diffusion of hydrogen is more than that of rate of diffusion of CO2. That's why hydrogen comes out first. That means the size of that balloon decreases because gas is coming out. Now what happened there? So here, no doubt it is 44. It is 200. No doubt hydrogen is entered into the balloon instead of CO2 coming out, because the rate of diffusion of hydrogen is more than that of CO2. That means the size of this balloon increases finally burst. Finally burst. That means here balloon size expands and finally burst. It shrinks, it bursts. Now what happened there? Here CO2 molecular mass is 44, N2O molecular mass also 44. So no gas is coming out, no gas is coming in. Therefore, nothing happened. Nothing happened there. That means the size of the balloon as it is, no one is changed. So mind it. So rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to square root of its mass, molecular mass, not mass, it is molecular mass. Okay. So next and most important applicative part of this Dalton's law of partial pressure, that is, Graham's law of diffusion. Let us take first one. It is used to separate. Isotopes of gas mixture. For example, it is the container. Here hydrogen is filled. Hydrogen 1H1, 1H2, 1H3 are there. Here it's mass 1, it's mass 2, it's mass 3. A small hole is made on this one. From this, first of all, 1H1 comes out. After that, 1H2 comes out. After that, 1H3 comes out. That means 3 individual gases are comes out. Individually, they are separated. That means separation of isotopes is possible with Graham's law of diffusion. Okay. So separation. At last, I will tell. You don't worry. Next, another one. Another one, that is enrichment or separation factor. Enrichment or separation factor indicated with the letter F. What is enrichment or separation factor? Let us take first of all concept. It is the container. A and B are taken. At the beginning, A 9 moles, B 1 mole is there. Now, molecular mass of A is less than that of molecular mass of B. Molecular mass of A less than that of molecular mass of B. A actually 9 moles, B actually 1 mole. Sorry. 9 moles, 7 moles. So here molecular mass of B less than molecular mass of A. Molecular mass of B is less than molecular mass of A. Now a small hole is made on this one end. Now which is connected to another vessel end. That means through this, whose molecular mass is less is coming out first. That means here B is coming out and A also coming out. It is more, it is less. Am I correct? Now, once again, a small hole is applied. It is connected with another one. So once again, B and yellow, B is something more and more. A is less than. So that means it is going on. At last, B is very, very high and A is almost low, almost negligible. That means after several steps, only we will get a B. That means it is possible to separate that A and B. That means at last B percentage is very, very high. That means B is enriched in that picture. B is enriched. There is nothing but the process of separation that is called as separation factor. How many steps are involved for this enrichment? That step is calculated with the help of, now let initial number of moles of A is N1 and B is N2. Final number of moles of A is N1 dash, B is N2 dash. Final number of moles. Now by using the formula, N2 dash by N1 dash is equal to N2 by N1 into under root M2 by M1 whole power X. This is the formula used to calculate enrichment. Actually, these are the number of moles taken. These are the number of moles finally coming out by using those molecular mass. Here X is the, it is X. Here X is called as, this X is number of steps. Number of steps required for conversion. So that means how many steps are required? That is calculated X. X is nothing but number of steps. Number of steps. Okay. So this is the way to calculate final conditioning. So mind it. N2 dash is the final number of moles. N1 dash of final number of moles for first component. It is second component. It is first component initial number of moles. N1 and N2 initial number of moles of first and second components, N1 dash and N2 dash, that is the final number of moles of first and second. X is equal to number of steps required for that conversion. Number of steps required for that conversion. It is called as enrichment factor. Based on this, I am going to calculate some problems. See here. So important moral problems I am going to cover here. So all problems I will send to you. So see there. I think they will understand. So take the problem. In 200 centimeters of 200 centimeters long iron tube of uniform cross section hydrogen and oxygen are made to flow from opposite ends. Find the distance. From hydrogen side. At which water will start forming. So this is the problem. There is a 200 centimeters long tube. This is the two ends open. The length of this tube 200 centimeters. This is the length of this tube. From one end, hydrogen gas is sent into the tube, and the other end, oxygen gas is sent into the tube. If these two hydrogen and oxygen are going to connect, H2 plus O2 combination gives H2O. That means when these two gases are meet at points, at that point water is formed. Let that point is this one. This is the point of those two gases I will meet. Now, the distance from hydrogen, the point that is, let it be X distance, X centimeters. Now, it should be 200 minus X centimeters. Now, how much is the distance covered by hydrogen? X centimeters. Oxygen is 200 minus X centimeters. Apply rate of diffusion formula. That is distance traveled by the gas. That is RH2 by RO2 is equal to distance traveled by the gas of H2 by distance traveled by the gas of O2 into T2 by T1, because same time at the same time, that means T1 is equal to T2 is equal to under root molecular weight of oxygen by molecular weight of hydrogen. So now compare these two. Distance traveled by the hydrogen gas by distance traveled by oxygen gas is equal to molecular weight of O2 by molecular weight of H2 under root. So now after application, distance traveled by hydrogen, that is X, by distance traveled by oxygen, that is 200 minus X, is equal to under root molecular weight of oxygen, that is 32 by molecular weight of hydrogen, which is equal to 2, that is 16. 16 root is 4. 16, that is finally 4. Therefore, finally, X is equal to how much? It is 160 centimeters. That means at which water is formed? After that is at a distance of 160 centimeters from hydrogen side. From hydrogen side. It is very, very, very important model. So two problems, nothing but this is the rate of diffusion, tube-based problem set. Very, very important. So distance traveled by the first gas, distance traveled by second gas by under root molecular weight of second gas by first gas. So see here, a 200-meter long tube is taken. Two ends, one hand hydrogen and another end oxygen is passed. No doubt these two will meet at a point inside the vessel, inside the tube. At that point, this is the reaction takes place. Water is formed. This is the point. This is the point where the two gases are meet inside. The distance covered by that first gas, hydrogen, is X. Now automatically it is total 200. It is 200 minus X is the distance covered by that oxygen. So distance 1 by distance 2 is equal to under root M2 by M1. That is the formula used. That is in already I discussed in conceptual. That is finally we get X is equal to 160. Now what is the X? That is distance covered by hydrogen gas. Therefore, so what is the distance? That is the distance here. Okay. Now up to 9:30. Just a minute. One more problem. That is the final problem. One mole of nitrogen gas at 0.8 atmosphere takes 38 seconds to diffuse through a fin of hole. Whereas 1 mole of an unknown compound, my dear boys, rate of diffusion. This rate of diffusion concept is also useful to find out the molecular mass of unknown compounds. It is one of the uses of applications of this Graham's law of diffusion. So that is a problem-based concept. Unknown compounds of xenon with fluorine, at 1.6 atmosphere. 1.6 atmosphere takes 57 seconds to diffuse through the same hole. Determine the molecular formula of unknown compounds. Determine the molecular formula of the compounds. Okay. So how to calculate this molecular formula of the compound? So my dear, pressures are given to you. This is the atmospheric pressure. So here also prices are given to you. Rate of diffusion with respect to prices and molecular masses, their formula is R1 by R2 is equal to P1 by P2 into under root M2 by M1. And the prices are given to you. R1 by R2 is equal to P1 by P2 into under root M2 by M1. Okay. Next, which is equal to N1 by N2 into T2 by T1 and N1 by N2 into T2 by T1. Okay. Next, see here. 1 mole of nitrogen gas. Find it. Here, 1 is nitrogen and 2 is xenon compound. I am going to take 1 mole of nitrogen. Wherever 1 is there, that is applicable to nitrogen and apply it. 1 mole of nitrogen takes 0.8 times. That is, so now I am going to compare these two. 1 mole of nitrogen, nitrogen is 1. 1 mole of nitrogen takes 0.8. This is 0.8 seconds. 0.8 atmosphere. 38 seconds to diffuse a same. Okay. Sorry. 0.8 atmosphere. 0.8 takes 38 seconds. Next, whereas 1 mole of unknown compound, it is also 1 mole. 1 mole of unknown compound of xenon, 1.6 atmosphere. 2 is 1.6 under root. 57 seconds. It is 57 seconds. Okay. So now M2, 2 means xenon compound. I don't know the molecular weight of M2, but molecular weight of N2 is 28. Molecular weight of N2 is 28. So from this, calculate that molecular weight. Therefore, molecular weight of unknown compound is equal to, after final calculation, 252 we will get. Molecular weight of that unknown compound we will get 252. Now, which is equal to xenon component, that is xenon plus n atoms of fluorine. That is equal to xenon molecular mass, atomic mass is 131, that will give to you, no doubts. And n into each fluorine has 19. Each fluorine has 19 atomic weight. So compare these two. Therefore, n is equal to 6. Therefore, the compound is XeF6 is the compound. 1 xenon with 6 fluorine. N is nothing but number of fluorine atoms. So XeF6 is the compound. First of all, calculate molecular mass, and then that molecular mass is applied for our calculation. Xenon with 2 number of hydrogens. So it is most important. See once again. Next and last for this today's class, that is enrichment calculation. Enrichment calculation. Find the number of effusion steps required to separate the isotopic mixture initially contain the same mass of hydrogen gas, some mass of hydrogen and 1 mole of D2 gas In a 3-liter container, maintain at 24.63 atmosphere and 300 Kelvin. 300 Kelvin. So the final mass, ratio of H2 and D2 equal to 4:1. H2 and D2 equal to 4:1. So see here, find the number of effusion steps. That means enrichment factor concept, any effusion steps. So here, first of all, I am going to calculate how many moles. So some mass of hydrogen. I don't know the mass of hydrogen. So now calculate that number of moles or mass of the hydrogen. Okay. So see, apply first is equal to PV is equal to nRT case. That is PV is equal to N1 plus N2 RT case. Because two gas mixtures are there. So pressure is given. How much is the pressure? 24.63. Volume of the container is given to you 3 liters. Is equal to, first I don't know the number of moles of that one, that is hydrogen, plus 1 mole of D2 is taken, 1 mole plus into RTL. R value, T value, already we know, that is R value, liter atmosphere, 0.0821 into temperature 300 Kelvin. Therefore, number of moles of H2, which is nothing but X, is equal to, how much it is? 200. Final calculation. After calculation, it is 200. Therefore, number of moles of hydrogen is equal to 2. Number of moles of D2 is equal to 1, which is equal to N1, which is equal to N2. Okay. Next, final mass ratio. That is, mass of hydrogen is to mass of D2 is equal to 4/1. That implies moles of hydrogen by moles of D2 is equal to, that is 4 by molecular mass by 1 by molecular mass. Sorry, molecular mass 2, it is 4N. Deuterium 4N. 2 plus 2. Therefore, which is equal to, it is 2, it is 1 by 4, which is equal to, how much? 8N. 8/1. 8/1. Mass ratio. Okay, just a minute. Mass ratio. Mass of hydrogen is equal to 4. Number of moles of hydrogen is equal to 200. Weight by molecular weight, which is equal to 2. Next, mass of D2 is equal to 1, which is number of moles of D2 is equal to weight by molecular weight. It is 4N. Therefore, it is N1, it is N2. It is N1 dash, it is N2 dash. N1 dash, N2 dash. Apply the formula. What is that formula? N1 dash by N2 dash is equal to N1 by N2 into under root M2 by M1. M2 by M1. So N1 dash is how much? 4 by 2 is equal to N1, N2. These are 2 by 1. 2 by 1 is equal to under root M2. 2 means molecular mass. Molecular mass of second one. 2 is D2 and D2 molecular mass 4 and hydrogen molecular mass 2 and whole power. And it is whole power X. It is whole power X. After final calculation, X is equal to 4 and that means 4 steps are required. 4 steps are required. That way is the way to calculate. So enrichment factor for this one to that one conversion, 4 steps are required. So number of different problems are there based on this one.